It is not certain who exactly this woman was. The gospel accounts in Matthew, Mark, and John suggest that she was of Bethany. And John even pinpoints her as Mary, sister of Martha and Lazarus. Luke, based on the account given in the chapter following, veers towards an idea that this might be Mary called Magdalene, from whom several demons were exorcised. But Luke does not mention her name, nor do Matthew and Mark. She is just a woman, action woman. With regard to the place where the scenario unfolded, Matthew and Luke and Mark all mention the home of Simon. And this Simon in Matthew and Mark's description is the leper, whereas in Luke, he's the Pharisee, one of those who ever criticized Jesus' actions and would obviously be judgmental and disapproving of this woman who apparently came into his house uninvited. The anointing of Jesus by this action woman created problems. The reason is that the onlookers to the event did not understand the deep and underlying significance of it. It was anointing devalued because in their ignorance, they underestimated the significance of it. What they failed to see was the depth of love behind the action. This woman would probably have applauded Julie Andrews singing, "Don't talk of love, stars shining above. If you're in love, show me." You see, she deeply loved Jesus, the Son of God, and determined lover that she was, no obstacle would keep her away. She had heard where Jesus was and somehow, though not invited, found her way into the house, carrying with her a flask of ointment. And then she got into the act, took up a position next to Jesus, and anointed him. Mark's account simply mentions anointing of the head. The Lucan account, to which I alluded earlier on, has more action that could be interpreted in the woman's favor. The fact that she bypassed all others and came directly to Jesus was stating categorically that this is the one whom I adore, this is the one I admire, the one whom I love, and this is where I must be, next to him. And it is of significance that Jesus allowed her to get close to him. She could not face him after all that she had done, allowing her body to be used for the pleasure of others. She was weeping, a genuine expression of grief, of sorrow over what she had thus far done with her life. She was certain that Jesus knew her life's every detail, and by allowing her the closeness, he was doing exactly what God does to those who genuinely need to be very near. Again, Mark's account of the incident is brief and not as graphic as that given in Luke. She apparently wet his feet with her tears and wiped them with the hair of her head. And this had implications for hospitality among the Jews who would ensure that a visitor to the home after a dusty journey would require water to wash off the feet. But horrors of horrors, it also had other implications, because for a woman to wipe Jesus' feet with her hair meant that she had to literally let down her hair, and this was a shameful thing for any self-respecting woman to do in public. Her onlookers would have been judgmental, seeing her as a prostitute. She, however, was not prostituting herself for Jesus. True, we would respond to her actions by saying she loved him bad, in a physical sense, but hers was a pure, sincere, genuine love for the Son of God. And when you add Luke's comment about kissing, you realize that it was not the kiss of infatuation or the expression of erotic love of one human being for another. She was kissing his feet, which, if seen in its true light, was intended to communicate love that went along with reverence, indeed deep respect for the Son of God.